We are poisoning our society. We're poisoning our kids, and we're letting it happen. The powers that control this country.
Which is, I think, big pharma.
They're the largest advertiser in mass media. Modern medicine is hijacked by 3 modalities: chemical, a drug, some kind of electrical stimulation, implant, or surgery. That's it. There's nothing else. Till this came along, no chemical, and we can get people out of a stressful chronic stress situation, chronic anxiety stress, and lower it measurably. This is award Nobel Prize winning science. Within 20 minutes, you see a sad brain become a happy brain, bro. 16 years and $25 million in R&D to get this to this place. And the world's clamoring for drug-free solutions.
If I put on that patch, am I going to feel the difference?
So the most reliable measurement of longevity in adults is that means you're going to live longer. The whole world is chasing AI, right? What we're harnessing is OI, original intelligence, that we're born with.
Aren't you worried about getting whacked? Because if you really do that, pharmaceuticals, trillions of dollars, someone's going to send a black helicopter.
I'm going to say something that maybe I shouldn't, but I'm going to say it anyways.
What it is, Brad Lee back again with another episode of Dropping Bombs. Today in the studio, folks, I got a real treat for you. Today's guest didn't just challenge Big Pharma. He built something that could damn near replace it. When his mother was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in the early 80s, a young boy named Jay watched traditional medicine fail the person he loved most, and that heartbreak lit a fire that would define his life's mission. Years later, after making nearly $100 million in the dot-com boom, he dumped everything back into a singular question. What if we could heal the body by signaling the brain through the skin without drugs, chemicals, or side effects? Today, that vision is a reality. His company, Super Patch, is disrupting healthcare worldwide with a patented neurotech called Vibrotactile Trigger Technology. It's science-backed, non-invasive, and used by millions to enhance sleep, focus, pain relief, strength, agility, mental clarity, and the list goes on. Welcome, Jay.
Pleasure to be here, Brad.
Jay Dhaliwal, folks. If you guys want to follow him, you can follow him at Super Patch Co. on most of the social medias, superpatch.com. So, Jay, now, obviously, I've been talking to you previously about all of these patches. And if you guys were here, you'd see that they're just little sticky squares, right? No drugs, nothing on them, just a certain texture to them.
Yeah.
And that texture is telling our skin what?
Well, I think we all know that our brain communicates with our body, and our body communicates with our brain. So when we put that texture, it's like Braille. Blind people read with their fingertips. So we're putting a special kind of Braille that we call VTT against our skin. Our skin has ion channels, these little transducers that send nervous signals to our mind. What we've decoded over the last 15 years are very specific neurocodes that help manage our physiological function, whether it's pain management, sleep, or stress. So when we put that sticker, as we call it, with those ridges are triggering a response in our skin that's communicating with our body, with our brain, and helping it bring it to homeostasis, which is just another word for balance.
So how did you discover this?
Well, it's, as you read, I woke up at the age of 38, pretty much what anybody would consider having achieved the American dream. Been married 30 years now, beautiful kids. My mom is still alive. She got diagnosed with MS in 83. She's supposed to live 6 years, but she's still alive. And my dad, just an amazing human being. And when I put all those check marks beside my life, what I found was that having taken care of my mom for the better part of 25 years at that point, and taken her to all the specialists, Brad, over a dozen countries, hundreds of places, where I say, you know what, hey, here's a specialist that deals with MS. Here's a specialist that deals with muscle atrophy. Never finding that answer. I just started digging into what is that mind-body connection? Because with MS, that's what happens. Your mind can't control your body. And when I started asking those questions to the smartest people in the room, they couldn't tell me. Think about it. They've been studying things like MS and neurodegenerative diseases for a long time, but they can't quantify the signal from the brain to the body. They don't know what it is. And as an engineer, as a software engineer, we live in the code, right? If the code's not getting through, there's a glitch. What's that glitch? And they're like, well, Jay, the body's not software. I'm like, well, you don't know if it is or isn't. You certainly don't know what's wrong with my mom because you haven't been able to help her. And the conclusion that I came through after years of research was that everybody agrees, obviously the mind regulates the body. The way the mind does it is through vibration, is through frequencies in our mind, which form these complex neural networks that regulate pain, sleep, stress, mobility. So I've written algorithmic software that helps me deduce EEGs, which are brainwave sets. So there's a large database of 250,000 people called the Loretta database, which is just brain sets from all over the world, which is the normative database for analyzing neurofunction. So I got this database. It's a nonprofit. It's great that they make it available for anybody doing research. And then I proceeded to write my own analysis software to actually diagnose and analyze that data. It's complex, but it's allowed me to, just like, the Hubble telescope looks outward in space, this software looks into the mind. And I've been able to deduce the different networks that affect our physiology. And then the patch is a delivery mechanism that connects the mind to the body. It helps restore those programs that regulate our body. So whether it's pain or sleep or stress, all the different things we've talked about, we can do it through physics, not chemistry. Modern medicine is stuck on chemistry. But the reality is we're all vibrational. Everything in our body is vibrational. That's how our mind communicates with our body. It isn't through chemistry. It's through vibration. It's through electrical signals. Electrical signals are just frequencies. And once we figure that out, we can solve almost any problem in the world in time.
Yeah, well, you're not selling me on it because I already believe it. Like I try to tell people, and it's that simple too.
It is that simple.
People think they try to complicate it, because it's complicating for your average brain, and it's like, well, who created us? Like that shows me where we were created. We didn't just come out of some
soup
mud pile.
No chance.
and even if we did, I ask, okay, so let me ask you a question. At what point what happened so that little amoeba or whatever it was,
there's no chance,
then became what, a fish? Because there was only one. It didn't turn into 75 different kinds of fish, and there's hundreds, thousands of kinds of fish.
Yeah.
And then those fish eventually walked out of water and then grew legs, and then they grew feet, and then one turned into a giraffe, and one turned into a rhinoceros, and one turned into a bumblebee. Like, come on, like there's no,
listen,
it's not possible.
There's an eminent biologist, and I forget his name, and he just presented this at a leading biology ethics conference. And he said, listen, he goes, for life to spring out of non-life particles, the permutations and combinations for the length of time that it would take for that to happen is longer than the universe has been around. Number one. So he goes, so the probability of it happening are next to zero. That's the first thing. He goes, there's no chance that could happen. Second thing, he goes, we have never discovered or found a single, and that's just to become a single cell organism. We've never found anything that went from a single cell organism to a 2-cell organism. Because how did we become a trillion cell organism? And the thing that debunks all of it is the thing that separates us from everything else, which is our consciousness. Evolution fails at consciousness. It can't describe it. So the thing that makes us us, the real defining thing that makes us human as beings of spirit and light, evolution can't explain. And so they're like, oh, give us one big miracle of the Big Bang and we'll explain the rest. I go, no, it doesn't work that way. You can't explain life. Life isn't an accident. That's what I believe.
That's what I believe.
And the science is absolutely backing us now, saying, you know what? If we dig in this a little bit deeper, it doesn't make any sense. I believe the entire scientific conversation got hijacked by this guy named Darwin. And we've gone down this rabbit hole of trying to prove something that cannot be proved. Right? And then they try to bring connections that don't exist. Where's the missing link? We've only been looking for it for a long time. It doesn't exist. What happened to the Denisovans? A different species. They died off. Things happen. Things become extinct. So I don't buy into the general narrative, and having studied where modern health and modern medicine is, it's archaic, it's old. Modern medicine, especially in the Western world, is designed on an old paradigm of what? Infectious diseases, smallpox, polio. So we got really good at making vaccines and antibiotics, but we've wiped those out. They're not killing us anymore. What's tormenting us? Pains, aches, fatigue, poor sleep. So these chronic things have happened, right? The only solution we still have is a bloody pill, because that's all we make.
Or get rid of the shit that's causing them, which is iPhones and shit we're not willing to get rid of.
That's a whole different conversation, man, about the electrical EMF poison that's in the universe, right? I mean, we live
even a microwave.
All of it.
That's another thing. Like, who invented that shit?
If you dig deep enough, you're not going to get good answers. So,
well, the answers that make most sense is, well, that's alien technology they got from, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, okay, well, again, now we're talking about aliens. And pretty soon people are like, man, that's all stupid. Well, again, you ever heard of the flat earth theory? Well, dude, when you look at some of the questions those guys pose, I go, that is a good question. But of course, we don't live on a flat earth. Well, why is that so crazy to believe if we can believe, there was a burning bush and somebody talked to Moses? And if you can believe anything, you can believe anything, is my point.
100%.
Well, scientifically speaking, we are frequencies.
100%.
We are simply a bundle of vibrational frequencies. And so that can be proven, and it has been proven
many times.
So this isn't a spiritual thing.
No,
this is a scientific thing.
Very much scientific. Brad, you hit it on the head. Like 1939, two of the smartest guys in the room, this guy named Dr. Rabin, Dr. Milborn at Columbia University, published a paper. It was actually posted in the New York Post, 1939, way before you and I came along, this mudball. And they proved that every single cell in our body was receiving and transmitting a signal. So basically, we're antennas. 1939, man. This isn't new. 6 years later, they made the MRI and won the Nobel Prize. So we're not talking about things that don't exist in science. This is award Nobel Prize winning science. When I started doing my research in 2009, in 2010, these two doctors out of California, Dr. Papatupian especially, we always knew the skin was talking to the brain, but we didn't know how. He discovers these two ion channels, which are just transducers and proteins, that when you touch the skin, they generate an electrical signal. Till that point, we didn't know what was doing it. We knew it was doing it. So the serendipity of my life is that these people are doing all this amazing research, but they're not looking to solve a problem. My goal in doing all of this was to help my mom with her MS. That was it. And so these guys who discovered those ion channels that send the signal from the skin to the brain, call it piezo 1, piezo, these are transducers, they eventually win the Nobel Prize in 2021 in physiology and medicine. People go, this is woo-woo science. I go, no, you haven't read the science. I read 50,000 research papers and 500 textbooks. This didn't come out of a Cracker Jack box. This is 16 years and $25 million in R&D to get this to this place. And the world's clamoring for drug-free solutions, Brad.
Well, why do you think, like, for example, we get goosebumps?
It's a response to input coming into our senses.
That's right.
And the body's responding like this.
Yeah, but there's a purpose for everything. It's
Sure.
like, I didn't realize that was to do that. And it goes back to where, back when we were just trying to have survival.
Yeah.
Some of these instincts like fear, they no longer serve us the same way because of obviously evolution and creature comforts. So I like to say the goosebumps are caused when the polyunsaturated hydrocarbons flow through the medulla oblongata and increase the blood flow to the erector pili.
There you go.
The question is why? Well, again, that's the question. So when it's at the end of the day figured out, someone will be like, oh, that's why. So it just sounds like you've figured out that, hey, you don't need drugs. You need your skin to feel something specific.
Yeah. So we all accept that blind people read Braille with their fingertips.
Yes.
Right? Been around 200 years.
Well, they had to learn that, though.
Hold on.
They didn't just do this and read.
I understand that. But they didn't learn the mechanism of the science of the skin transmitting the information to the brain.
No.
Right? Something went from that fingertip up their arm into the spinal nerve, into their brain.
You don't need that.
And the brain says, oh, that's a letter. Oh, that's a word. But the signal had to get from here to here.
Yeah, or anywhere. There's other parts of the skin that transmits.
So Braille is working with the prefrontal cortex, which is learn knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay. But we didn't learn pain. We didn't learn sleep. We didn't learn mobility, pre-programmed genetic programming. And that doesn't operate the conscious level. That's not something we learn. That's operating the autonomic system. Those are pre-programmed settings in us. And that's the system we're speaking to. So it doesn't speak English, man. It speaks frequency. And if we can send the right frequency through our skin, if Braille works, that means all that matters is what you're writing on the skin. So we've developed our own language of communicating with our autonomic system. Why is it radical? Because no one's done it before. But once upon a time, somebody made the first thing. Just happens to be that we did this. Why? Because we were focused on a solution, not academia. I'm not trying to be famous. I'm not trying to solve any other thing than, hey, do we have alternative solutions to a pill?
But why? Why are you so eager to do that?
Because I relied on modern medicine to help my mom for 25 years without any results. And they kept telling me, well, that's not how this works. And I asked them, well, tell me how it works. And then they don't know. What they won't admit is they don't know. And they'll sooner tell you it's not possible than to say we don't know and we're going to try a different approach. Modern medicine is hijacked by 3 modalities: chemical, a drug, some kind of electrical stimulation, implant, or surgery. That's it. There's nothing else. So, yet, till this came along. And what we're doing is we're saying, hey, there's an alternative here. But the healthcare system, and I don't blame doctors or anybody else, that's what they've been taught. There's no innovation in old books. 30 years ago, if you read a neurology textbook, and I've read them, they said that the brain could not repair itself, that it was permanent brain damage. Wow. You read a textbook now, it's like, oh, neuroplasticity allows you to recover and repair broken neurology. Really? So how are they possibly going to invent or solve new problems reading old textbooks? There's dogma. There's ideology that's not designed to look for answers where none exist. That's where innovators come in place. That's where you got to take risks. 16 years, $25 million. I didn't go out there saying, hey, believe in me. I said, I think I can solve this.
Aren't you glad you had $25 million?
Absolutely.
What if you didn't? Imagine trying to explain to investors how this works.
You raise a great question. People say, well, Jay, how come you didn't raise money and why did you risk your own fortune? I go, no one's going to bet on me because what I'm proposing is so radical.
Not only that, dude, it says you had 100.
Yeah.
Yeah, gambling 25, you still got 75. You weren't risking
everything.
Actually
a little bit more than 100, but that's beside the point, right?
I mean,
hundreds at 29.
People don't understand though. Like if I have 100, I'll risk 40, 50. Would you have risked it all?
Would I have risked it all for my mom? Yeah.
Well, she was already good.
No, she wasn't happy. I wasn't happy.
Like Elon Musk, when he got paid from PayPal,
yeah,
he was sleeping on couches. He basically bet it all. Yeah. Like, dude, that's balls.
Sure.
If I got 100, I'll throw 25. Worst case scenario, I lose it. Now I still got 75. Ain't nothing wrong with 75.
No, there's nothing wrong with 75, but I tell you, most people won't even knew that.
No.
Right.
And they wouldn't.
And the 25 is where it ended. Had no idea where it was going to end. It could have been the whole 100.
Yeah.
Right.
You were just willing.
We're willing to do it. And
when did you first discover it? And do you have scientists in places?
No, listen, dude, I couldn't get anyone to go along and say, hey, listen, I reached out to some of the preeminent scientists where I live in Toronto. University of Toronto is one of the leading universities in the world. They're like, hey, you know what, Jay? Stick to software, dude. I'm a software engineer by education. They're like, this doesn't work this way. So when you're proposing something that's so out of scope, forget about investment. You can't even get collaborators because they don't want to risk their reputation. Right? So it becomes a solitary journey where you believe that, you know what, it has to be solvable. Because if you believe that the mind controls the body, then all you got to figure out is how does it do it?
Mind does control the body.
Yeah.
We know this.
Okay. How?
Well, that's the miracle. But to me, it's like, we know that's the case.
Right.
Because like this, that ain't the body doing that.
No.
That's me doing that.
Absolutely.
That's the mind.
So that's the question. Because my mom couldn't do that anymore. She couldn't do this. And my question was, what's happening to her desire, her conscious thought?
Where's it breaking down?
Where's it breaking down? They said, why do you want to know that? I go, well, I'm an engineer. I can maybe build a bridge over the broken part. They're like, well, it doesn't work that way. I go, well, the way you're proposing doesn't work either. So what's wrong with a new idea?
Yeah, and they wouldn't admit that they don't know.
They'll never admit they don't know.
Yeah, because like you look at a disease like that, or even that one that Stephen Hawkins had. Yeah. What was that?
I don't know. Was it ALS? I don't think it was ALS.
ALS.
Terrible.
Well, that's the worst one ever. But I mean, like, oh boy. What he was just walking around normal. All of a sudden, bam, and now he can't move and he can't think. But dude, his brain was still operational. So something shut down, something broke, some communication's not happening.
This is the thing.
For whatever reason.
What I've deduced and what I believe is this. Modern medicine still thinks that our mind is a physical thing. Our mind is not our brain.
Correct.
Okay. And they get stuck on that. Well, it's the brain. I said, no. The mind is that net of frequencies that has our memories, has our consciousness, and how's it expressed in brain waves. Okay. It's not physical. It's energy. It's energetic.
Yeah.
It's just waves, alpha, beta, delta, theta, gamma, and some other stuff we can't read yet.
Yeah, but if they really believe that, you telling me doctors think the mind is the brain?
Absolutely.
That would be.
Absolutely.
I'm going to go investigate that, because if that's true, then
it's absolutely true.
Well, then again, I mean, folks, then here's my question.
They won't talk about the mind without talking about the brain.
Well, then here's my question to the doctors out there listening. How much does it weigh?
What?
The mind.
They don't know.
Well, what do you mean?
To tell you it's this big.
How much does it weigh?
Your mind is this big. It weighs about 3 pounds, and that's your mind. Because they'll interchange mind and brain like this.
Yeah, but not the smart ones, because everybody realizes, I thought anyway, everybody realizes you can't point to the mind. There's no temperature. There's no size. You can't touch it.
So then why are we trying to solve those problems with chemicals?
Well, they're not. They're trying to fix the pathways in the brain, because the brain exists, but what's controlling it? What's causing? Some people think it's your microbiome.
Actually, they thought that, but a study came out last week that says, oh, by the way, signals from your brain are controlling your microbiome. You see, every day there's new breakthroughs of us understanding a little bit better, but what's really happening. There's a communication loop between our mind and our body and back.
Well, I look at it like the controller of a video game.
100%.
So when you pick up a controller and you're moving the guy on the screen, right? What's moving the guy on the screen? People say the controller. No, you're moving it through the controller. So I think the mind is our being, our consciousness, our soul, if you will, our spirit, if you will. And it exists somewhere else, but it's controlling us through the mind. So the mind's like our controller, not the mind. The brain is like the actual plastic controller. So the brain wiring, what causes that? Well, that's the mind. In my mind, that's the mind. And the mind, again, it can be affected and altered by its environment.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And like, dude, to me, this makes sense only because it's vibrational, it's tactile technology.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, like, how did you know what tactile pattern fixed what?
That's great. That's what took. So this is what took 16 years. Right? First, you have to deduce the actual, what I believe is the neural network that's regulating, say, pain. So the neural matrix pain. Can I isolate those sets of waves and regions of the brain that regulate it? And then study that for normative function, right? So there's databases out there that you can analyze, right? So I've built my own software. I wrote my own software to analyze those big data sets of EEG readings. And they're massive sets of 250,000 people aged 2 to 85. What I found was that people are looking not at the layers they're looking very superficially. They think that brain waves are flat waves. Brain waves are not flat. The way that our mind communicates the waves are spiraling through the different regions of our brain. So it's perspective. What are they trying to solve? Our mind is not a two-dimensional thing. Our mind is a multi-dimensional quantum vortex. It's unbelievable. So these guys at MIT, a few years ago, started doing algebraic topography of how complex our neural networks are with their supercomputers. They say our mind's connected on 11 dimensions of connectivity. Like, we can't even consciously get our head around that, what that is. What that goes to say is it's the most complex thing in the world, and it's limitless in its potential to do or create whatever we want. That's what I believe, because that's what the science shows us, right? So the algorithm programs I wrote allow me to slowly unwind those networks to see, hey, what are the building blocks of that program? And once that's done, is how can I affect change? And ultimately, everything's a wave, Brad. Everything's a wave.
A frequency.
Everything's a frequency. And the only way you can restore, amplify, correct frequencies is send a corresponding frequency. So what the patches do is they stimulate the skin to send the corrective frequencies that restore those programs to default settings. And we do it without chemicals. We do it through physics, touch and pressure. It's real simple. The math behind it is bloody complex. It's taken 16 years to get this thing figured out. That pattern of stimulation is what I call VTT. It's a platform of stimulation. So whereas Braille is A, B, C, D, E, these little swirls and these loops, they collectively synchronize the right stimulation to get the response that we want. And that's the IP. That's the intellectual property. That's what took so long to figure out.
So what about like depression?
Yeah, So depression, again, if you study the EEGs of people that have, chronic sadness, that are just not happy, we can see that in EEG settings. So when we put our joy patch on people that are chronically sad, within 20 minutes, you see a sad brain become a happy brain, bro.
So joy, folks, you used to think you always tried to find joy in life. Well, here it is right here.
You know what the funny thing is, dude? Brad? Joy and bliss is our default setting. Ever see a baby? Happy, blissful, no worries, no stress. Hasn't been programmed yet.
Yeah, still has belief.
It's limitless, all of it, right? Yeah, of course. Wants it, can feel it, can emote it, can probably visualize it. That's our default setting. That's homeostasis. That's where we want to be. I met you today, man, and your energy is so positive. Why? Because you're already there. Actually, what do you need help with? Like, no, I don't need help with anything. I got to figure it out, which is fantastic. But most people are living in a time machine in their mind. They're either regretting the past or agonizing about the future, not living in the present.
Well, I've already ordered the sleep. Let's put on some joy.
Put on some joy, brother.
Well, I mean, again, I'm already happy and pumped and excited, so maybe I won't feel anything different. But there's people that are like literally, it's almost like anxiety. You know what I mean? I know someone
there's a lot going on.
Well, I know somebody that has they call anxiety attacks.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, what do they feel like? He's like, you ever be like driving in your car and a cop pulls up behind you and you just have this
panic attack,
scared feeling? I'm like, well, yeah. Well, that's what it feels like.
So,
and I'm like, well, so you just feel scared all day?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like there's pending doom and it's just like, I'm depressed and it's like nothing feels
for that person
fun.
For that person, I'd recommend the joy patch and the peace patch you have on your desk there. So the peace patch is for stress and anxiety.
It just goes anywhere you want.
Anywhere you want. So this is the part that I'm excited about. So with that peace patch, we can show in our clinical studies, check this out, we reduce perceived stress by 33% and improve mental health factors by 24%. That study was actually chosen for presentation at the World Psychiatry Congress in Mexico City last year. A controlled study with a placebo to show what the effects of this product are. If you think about it, no pill, no chemical, and we can get people out of a stressful, chronic stress situation, chronic anxiety stress, and lower it.
Measurably.
Yeah,
this one's another one people need to know about because there's always people trying to lose weight and what have you. And if you could just literally get your metabolism to increase, you'd lose weight just if you just burnt more calories. Well, this one.
Not that one. It's the other one. It's called Ignite.
This one will increase your resting metabolic rate by 20% just by sticking this on.
Yeah.
So literally, if you're burning 2,000 calories a day, let's say, for example, you're trying to lose weight. Well, you got to burn more than you take in, obviously.
Yeah.
So if you're burning 2,200 and you're taking in 2,200, well, you're not going to lose weight. You're just going to stay and maintain. Well, you could stick this little patch on and burn 2,600.
Yeah.
And now you're at a 400 deficit over a week's time. That's a pound. Another week, that's a pound. Where does it end?
This is the beautiful part of it. So our metabolic rate, again, is controlled by this. And our metabolic function.
That's one of those autonomic things, though.
It's an autonomic thing, right? So what happens is we know, the mind knows where its balance system is. So this isn't a race to zero weight. This is a progression to what is the right thing for us, right? Because people that don't that don't consume enough calories and they're unhealthy that way, right? This is not about a fad diet where you take this and you're going to be skinny as a rail. No, this is about finding optimal health and wellness that is right for our body.
Yeah.
And bringing our neurology there. So healthy mind, healthy body, right? And that's the key, is optimizing our systems, not hijacking them. So listen, this whole thing with Ozempic and all these different things out there, right? What are we doing? We're taking poison, we're putting it into our body to lose weight in an unnatural way. And now you see the side effects coming up. Frozen stomachs, can't process sugars, can't do all those things. Why? Because people do anything to lose weight. Well, how about we start with the basics, which is RMR, resting metabolic rate. Let's just burn more calories at rest, introduce a healthy lifestyle of exercise and good nutrition, and we're going to get to wellness. It's not new information. Everybody knows this, but people don't want to change their lifestyle.
So you've got kick it. The says take back control. What's that mean? Like willpower?
Yeah, willpower. So
if you're trying to stop smoking or stop drinking, this would like kick up your
resistance to that intention. So
wouldn't somebody say, well, that's a chemical addiction, Jay? A patch isn't going to fix that.
So let me give you
unless it's a nicotine patch.
Let me give you the neuroscience behind it, because I can study the physics, right? So a bad habit, everything's a habit. Good habits are called virtues. Bad habits are called vices. We all know this, right? So when we take a look at a habit that we know is not good for our health and wellness, it starts with an intention. There's always an intention. Then there's a thought, and then there's an action. When that gets stuck, where the intention is not good for us. So remember I said before that the waves in our mind actually communicate through a spiral.
Yeah.
What I found in my research was when we're doing things that are actually against our default settings, our survival mechanisms, it actually spirals the other way. So
counterintuitive.
It's counter health, it's counter survival, it's counter everything, right? So what we do is we interrupt that intention to action loop. And we say, oh, no, this isn't good for you. And it does it how? By just sending the right signal, say, hey, listen, take a moment, take a breather. And that's what most people usually need. It's just a moment of clarity, saying, you know what, I don't need to do this right now.
Or it manifests into problems.
Of course it manifests into problems.
Because I always say, like, I when I go to the gym, there's these big old buff dudes, and they're always messing with me, and they're like, throw some weight on it. Because I'm not lifting heavy. And they're always in bandages and freaking braces and shit. And I'm like, why? And they're like, well, you got to get big. And I'm like, dude, listen, I listen to my body. If my body hurts, that's to me a mechanism that's saying, stop whatever you're doing. Otherwise, why would there be pain? It's like, no. Stop that shit. So if it starts to get real painful, I'm like, well, shit, it's telling me to stop. We're not supposed to be in pain. Pain isn't a thing that you want. Now, again, mental pain, anguish, challenge, all these other things, it's obviously arguable, because I do believe being uncomfortable is good for us.
Only way you're going to grow.
But not pain. Like if someone said, Brad, you're going to lose all your money, or you're going to have a real headache the rest of your life, all the time. Dude, I'd rather be broke and pain-free personally.
100%. 100%.
Quality of life matters.
Yes, quality of life matters, right? And now quality of life has been hijacked by what? Drugs, unregulated supplementation, and unproven therapies. Aren't
you worried about getting whacked?
Nah, not really. I the guy upstairs and I got a real personal relationship.
Because I mean, if this gets real popular, I mean, it's already popular. Obviously, you got tons of people on them and testimonials, and the word spread now that you're on Bomb Squad. I'll 100%. Tell you that much. But once the word gets out there, and it's not just, oh yeah, this is bullshit. No. People are like testifying, just like Jesus. Yeah, everyone's saying he is full of shit too.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, here we are thousands of years later, people still talking about it. So to me, it's like once this spreads and the testimonials start coming up, I would think that the pharmaceutical companies aren't going to like you, because why would I need medicine if I got the patches?
This is the thing. They don't like me now. It's okay.
Do you ever get threatened?
Not yet.
You ever get like 3-letter agencies looking up your ass?
All the time.
What do they say to you?
Oh, well, where's the evidence for this? Here it is. Where's the evidence for this? Here it is. Where's the evidence for this? This is why we spend the money, we spend the time and energy on the research, right? Because I know it's coming, because we're going against the grain, right? But this is the reality of it. People are demanding this. There was no big business when I started this. This was a rich guy with a passion project to help his mom with time on his hand and a curious mind and a pretty sharp intellect. Like, you know what? I think I can figure. There's a lot of ego in that, right? It's like, I can figure this out. Well, these doctors couldn't figure it out, right? And then when I realized for myself what the potential was, it wasn't just helping my mom. I could help everyone's mom, right? And the solutions that were given to my mom weren't effective, right? Tried nerve conduction. Try this new neurotropic. Try this. Up. You name it, we tried it. So that light at the end of the tunnel was always a train for us. It wasn't daylight. And you got to come back and try a different one. Come back and try. And there's people that don't have financial resources, right, Brad?
Does she still have MS?
Mom still has MS, but this is the part that makes me the proudest. So for all the time that she's wearing a version of the technology that I have, so there's always been iterations. We keep improving it, right? And this is the latest version. So over the last 8-9 years now, because there's other versions of this tech before. So this is a person that's been in bed since 1985, completely wheelchair bound. She has perfect circulation, no pain, no bed sores, perfect cognition, perfect speech, perfect breathing, perfect digestion. She can move her neck around. She could never do that before. She's experiencing her family. I take care of my mom and my dad. She sees her grandchildren. She sees her children. She's experiencing life in a way that she never could have done before. Why? Because we're addressing things that have never been addressed before. When was the last time we went to a doctor's office and he talked about the neurosignals from our mind to our body? So, you know what, that's disrupted. We got to work on that. No one talks about it. You go to a psychiatrist, you're not feeling good, you're a little sad, a little upset, you're having some relationship problems. Well, I'm going to write you a pill. Why? Because that's the only thing they're allowed to prescribe by law. So I can't worry about what they're going to do. What we're trying to do is way more important.
Well, you already realize you're barking up the wrong tree in that path.
Yeah.
So
people said to me, you need all the doctors on your side. I go, no, I don't. We need to get this to people.
Liberty.
Yeah. It's the first patch I made for my mom.
Is mobility.
Yeah.
So if people are tight, like, give me the symptoms of the things.
So this is, you're gonna freak out. The holy grail of wellness is longevity, right? Longevity and vitality. Everybody wants to live longer, right? So you always talk about, you can't measure it. How do you measure it? So the most reliable measurement of longevity in adults is balance and stability and grip strength.
Is it?
100%. Global studies done that as an adult, if you have better balance, stability, and grip strength as an adult, statistically, you're going to live longer. And if it's poor, you're going to live not as long. That's proven, but no one tests it. So with that patch, it's the only product in the world that instantly improves your balance and stability by 31% and improves your grip strength from 15 to 18% instantly. So what does that mean? That means you're going to live longer.
Instantly.
Instantly.
Unless you get hit by a truck.
That's also instantly. You're not going to live.
Well, I used to have, I'll see if I can find it when I'm done here, because that's something we can test. Because I squeeze this thing and then I put that.
Yeah.
And dude, I have a strong ass grip.
Me too.
That's why I'm glad to hear, grip strength means something.
Yeah. Means everything.
I squeeze that and people are like,
well, you can tell.
How are you doing it?
It's the first test of whether somebody's healthy or not. You shake their hand. If they got no strength in their grip, that means that's not a very well person.
Well, I mean, some people are just never taught right and they give you a fish hand.
So they're still not well. I mean, there's a whole bunch. I mean, but if they don't have grip strength, like if you test it and they're not strong in their grip, right? And you have all these metrics you can measure it against, what's average, what's above average, what's below average.
So if I put that on, let's say I go as hard as I can and it gets to 100 and I think I was 152.
It's great.
So if I put that on, it'd be 18% higher.
It'll be between 15 and 18% higher. Some are more, some are less, but that's statistically what we're seeing.
All right, well, I hope my squeezer's here so I can do that one. Freedom.
Aches and pains.
Deal with pain. So this is the one that sells the most, I bet.
100%.
Victory.
Athletic performance. So this is the key. We just finished a study with the University of Arizona with their athletic department. So D1 athletes, right? Study's getting published here in about 3 weeks. It'll be on PubMed. We've already presented at D1 schools across the country. So Brad, hear this. A 10% increase in power and lower body function. So meaning your legs and your knees are generating 10% more power in a double-blind controlled placebo study, RCT control study with D1 athletes. And the other thing we found is that when they wear the patch, their weak side starts to equal their dominant side in terms of strength and power and balance. That's incredible what that means for performance, recovery, and injury prevention. Where? Done at the University of Arizona. Here. Not in some Timbuktu place done by the head of their medical staff. And we don't get to pick who does it. We're like, okay, they want to study this, we'll support you. You become sponsors of it, right? And people always say to us, well, Jay, how come you're sponsoring the studies? They're not independent. I go, who do you think sponsors big pharma studies? Big pharma does. Pfizer's writing the checks to them. They do their FDA studies. Because no one's going to fund somebody else's innovation. No one's going to study it because they don't have any vested interest in it. We have to develop the product, iterate it, and then we have to test it, and then we have to prove it. We have to do that through our own resources. What happens is that to do it the right way, the way that we do it, is you go find a clinical research organization, and they go find the investigators that we have no control over. So Dr. Jeff Gooden, who's a professor at the University of Miami, when he was reached out by the clinical research organization, his response is real simple. He goes, you can let the sponsor know, no matter what the results are, we're going to publish our findings. So if it comes back that he's going to write a big check, this is going to be a very expensive study, but if it comes back that this didn't do anything, we're going to publish it. And that's when most people run for the hills who don't believe in what they have. And people says, well, I said, yeah, no problem. Go ahead, do it. And they're like, why would you risk that? I go, you're confusing the issue here. If it doesn't work, that means I got to go back and design another product and make one that does work. I don't want to sell something that doesn't work, right? Because this for me is a long-term thing. Because listen, it took us 5 generations to get a world plagued by drugs and chemicals. It's going to take 5 generations to clear it up. So it's not an overnight thing. And so the studies are important because we can show it. That's the key. You have to prove it because you and I talked about, you said, Jay, I'm a healthy skeptic. I'm like, great. Here's the evidence. Here's the clinical evidence. Now you have the experiential evidence of when you try it and how you feel.
So like this one, joy, hope, and happiness, like never before.
Yeah, like never before.
So if I were depressed, I put this on, within how long would I start feeling perky and up and like, at least like everything's going to be okay?
I tell people, give it 72 hours.
And it's called joy.
Yeah.
Now, can you get one called high?
No.
And then also,
I don't have that. And I won't make one.
Well, because there's people that are going to want to be like, you know, that euphoria feeling.
I got asked for it just this week. And I said, no, I won't do that.
What about like, is this causing your pituitary gland to release serotonin or dopamine? Like how does it work?
So all I'm working on is the physics of it, which is the brain waves, which is the frequency. A sad mind registers a very specific set of frequencies. You can see it clear as day. So you put the headset on people that are sad and you see a sad mind. We can send signals through the skin that push those signals out of the sad zone into the happy zone. Because I'm only working on the physics. Because if the primal reading, the primal measurement, the core genesis of our neurofunction, our brain waves, and I start there. The mind controls the biochemistry, the biology, and the physics of our body. Get that right, everything else will follow.
What about this one?
Rocket patch. So over time, men and women, our level of response to stimulation decreases, right? So what does that look like? Poor blood flow, lower hormonal levels, all those different things. But our arousal mechanisms are neurological. So this was designed initially for men, but women are finding phenomenal results with it. So guys that are aged between 30 and 40 wear that patch regularly for 24 hours for under a week. They're going to find that they have the virility and the libido of being 25. Guys 40 to 50 wear it for 2 weeks. Guys 50 and over wear it for 3 weeks. And they find that their libido levels, their performance levels, it's like they're in their mid-20s again.
So this rocket patch.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, dude, obviously, you know, I was going to sell something like this when I was younger. It was basically guaranteed how to increase the size of your penis.
Okay.
And my plan was There's money back guarantee, first of all.
Yeah.
All you had to do is take a picture and send it in to make sure it didn't
Prove
work.
that it didn't work.
Yeah, you got to prove it. Send me a picture. And all it was a tube of baby oil. And the instructions said, place on soft penis and rub. If it doesn't lengthen and it doesn't grow, well, then take a video of that and send it in that I can use publicly, and I will definitely give your money back, because that is the solution. You just rub it.
Well,
and it'll grow. I know, but like now people would be like, oh, dude, you scammed the guy. Well, again, did it grow? Well, sure it did. No chemicals involved, no surgery involved. That's what I advertised. No chemicals, no surgery. You know what I mean? So like some people are like, oh, well, no wonder. Like this is something where if I put on that patch, am I going to feel the difference?
It's not like the blue pill.
So it's not going to rush because I've taken one of those blue pills, dude. I get a headache,
migraine headaches,
and I get a stuffy nose. Yeah. Like it's like 100%. I feel like I can't breathe.
Yeah.
So it's doing something.
Yeah.
And as far as
like chemical reaction.
Yeah. Well, it's a vasodilator supposedly.
Yeah, it's a vascular dilator, and it does what it does. Right. Again, this is the thing.
But this isn't going to do that.
No.
Because it's just a texture.
Just a texture.
Like people don't realize there's no drug on this. It's not going to do anything.
So let me put it this way: a lot of times people can't perform because they're stuck in their own head.
That's people are tight. Like, give me the symptoms of the things.
So this is you're gonna freak out. The holy grail of wellness is longevity, right? Longevity and vitality. Everybody wants to live longer, right? So you always talk about you can't measure it. How do you measure it? So the most reliable measurement of longevity in adults is balance and stability and grip strength.
Is it?
100%. Global studies done that as an adult, if you have better balance, stability, and grip strength as an adult, statistically, you're going to live longer. And if it's poor, you're going to live not as long. That's proven, but no one tests it. So with that patch, it's the only product in the world that instantly improves your balance and stability by 31% and improves your grip strength from 15 to 18% instantly. So what does that mean? That means you're going to live longer.
Instantly.
Instantly.
Unless you get hit by a truck.
That's also instantly. You're not going to live.
Well, I used to have, I'll see if I can find it when I'm done here, because that's something we can test. Because I squeeze this thing and then I put that.
Yeah.
And dude, I have a strong ass grip.
Me too.
That's why I'm glad to hear, grip strength means something.
Yeah.
I squeeze that and people are like,
well, you can tell.
How are you doing it?
It's the first test of whether you know somebody's healthy or not. You shake their hand. If they got no strength in their grip, that means that's not a very well person.
Well, I mean, some people are just never taught right, and they give you a fish hand.
So they're still not well. I mean, there's a whole bunch. I mean, but if they don't have grip strength, like if you test it and they're not strong in their grip, right? And you have all these metrics you can measure it against: what's average, what's above average, what's below average.
So if I put that on, let's say I go as hard as I can and it gets to 100 and I think I was 152.
It's great.
So if I put that on, it'd be 18% higher.
It'll be between 15 and 18% higher. Some are more, some are less, but that's statistically what we're seeing.
All right, well, I hope my squeezer's here so I can do that one. Freedom.
Aches and pains.
Deal with pain. So this is the one that sells the most, I bet.
100%.
Victory.
Athletic performance. So this is the key. We just finished a study with the University of Arizona with their athletic department. So D1 athletes, right? Study's getting published here in about 3 weeks. It'll be on PubMed. We've already presented at D1 schools across the country. So Brad, hear this. A 10% increase in power and lower body function. So meaning your legs and your knees are generating 10% more power in a double-blind controlled placebo study, RCT control study with D1 athletes. And the other thing we found is that when they wear the patch, their weak side starts to equal their dominant side in terms of strength and power and balance. That's incredible what that means for performance, recovery, and injury prevention. Where? Done at the University of Arizona. Here. Not in some Timbuktu place done by the head of their medical staff. And we don't get to pick who does it. We're like, okay, they want to study this, we'll support you. You become sponsors of it, right? And people always say to us, well, Jay, how come you're sponsoring the studies? They're not independent. I go, who do you think sponsors big pharma studies? Big pharma does. Pfizer's writing the checks to them. They do their FDA studies. Because no one's going to fund somebody else's innovation. No one's going to study it because they don't have any vested interest in it. We have to develop the product, iterate it, and then we have to test it, and then we have to prove it. We have to do that through our own resources. What happens is that to do it the right way, the way that we do it, is you go find a clinical research organization, and they go find the investigators that we have no control over. So Dr. Jeff Gooden, who's a professor at the University of Miami, when he was reached out by the clinical research organization, his response is real simple. He goes, you can let the sponsor know, no matter what the results are, we're going to publish our findings. So if it comes back that he's going to write a big check, this is going to be a very expensive study, but if it comes back that this didn't do anything, we're going to publish it. And that's when most people run for the hills who don't believe in what they have. And people says, well, I said, yeah, no problem. Go ahead, do it. And they're like, why would you risk that? I go, you're confusing the issue here. If it doesn't work, that means I got to go back and design another product and make one that does work. I don't want to sell something that doesn't work, right? Because this, for me, is a long-term thing. Because, listen, it took us 5 generations to get a world plagued by drugs and chemicals. It's going to take 5 generations to clear it up. Mm-hmm. So it's not an overnight thing. And so the studies are important because we can show it. That's the key. You have to prove it because, I talked about, you said, Jay, I'm a healthy skeptic. I'm like, great. Here's the evidence. Here's the clinical evidence. Now you have the experiential evidence of when you try it and how you feel.
So like this one, joy, hope, and happiness, like never before.
Like never before.
So if I were depressed, I put this on, within how long would I start feeling perky and up and like, at least like everything's going to be okay?
I tell people, give it 72 hours.
And it's called joy.
Yeah.
Now, can you get one called high?
No.
And then also,
I don't have that. And I won't make one.
Well, because there's people that are going to want to be like, that euphoria feeling.
I got asked for it just this week. And I said, no, I won't do that.
What about, like, is this causing your pituitary gland to release serotonin or dopamine? Like, how does it work?
So all I'm working on is the physics of it, which is the brain waves, which is the frequency. A sad mind registers a very specific set of frequencies. You can see it clear as day. So you put the headset on people that are sad, and you see a sad mind. We can send signals through the skin that push those signals out of the sad zone into the happy zone. Because I'm only working on the physics. Because if the primal reading, the primal measurement, the core genesis of our neurofunction, our brain waves, and I start there. The mind controls the biochemistry, the biology, and the physics of our body. Get that right, everything else will follow.
What about this one?
Rocket patch. So over time, men and women, our level of response to stimulation decreases, right? So what does that look like? Poor blood flow, lower hormonal levels, all those different things. But our arousal mechanisms are neurological. So this was designed initially for men, but women are finding phenomenal results with it. So guys that are aged between 30 and 40 wear that patch regularly for 24 hours for under a week. They're going to find that they have the virility and the libido of being 25. Guys 40 to 50 wear it for 2 weeks. Guys 50 and over wear it for 3 weeks. And they find that their libido levels, their performance levels, it's like they're in their mid-20s again.
So this rocket patch.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, dude, obviously, I was going to sell something like this when I was younger. It was basically guaranteed how to increase the size of your penis.
Okay.
And my plan was there was money back guarantee, first of all.
Yeah.
All you had to do was take a picture and send it in to make sure it didn't
prove
work.
that it didn't work.
Yeah, you got to prove it. Send me a picture. And all it was a tube of baby oil. And the instructions said, place on soft penis and rub. And if it doesn't lengthen and it doesn't grow, well, then take a video of that and send it in that I can use publicly, and I will definitely give your money back, because that is the solution. You just rub it.
Well,
and it'll grow. I know, but like now people would be like, oh, dude, you scammed the guy. Well, again, did it grow? Well, sure it did. No chemicals involved, no surgery involved. That's what I advertised. No chemicals, no surgery. You know what I mean? So like some people are like, oh, well, no wonder. Like this is something where if I put on that patch, am I going to feel the difference?
It's not like the blue pill.
So it's not going to rush because no. I've taken one of those blue pills, dude. I get a headache,
migraine headaches,
and I get a stuffy nose. Yeah. Like it's like 100%. I feel like I can't breathe.
Yeah.
So it's doing something.
Yeah.
And as far as
it's a chemical reaction.
Yeah. Well, it's a vasodilator supposedly.
Yeah, it's a vascular dilator, and it does what it does. Right. Again, this is the thing.
But this isn't going to do that.
No.
Because it's just a texture.
Just a texture.
Like people don't realize there's no drug on this. It's not going to do anything.
So let me put it this way: a lot of times people can't perform because they're stuck in their own head.
That's a fact.
A fact, right?
It's happened.
Okay, not to you, but people we know.
No, it's happened to me.
Okay, so what
dude,
I'm saying,
with my wife, the first time I ever met my wife, unfortunately, like she shocked me with something, and I'm like. And like that night, like it wasn't working very well.
Okay.
And fortunately, because, I didn't want to whack her the first night, then I might not have wanted her anyway, which is why I keep telling ladies, like, quit giving it up the first night. That makes them like, question your I don't know the word, but anyway, long story short, we were drinking. I could have probably, done something, but it wasn't working quite right that night. And I thought like I'd never see her again because of it.
Yeah.
But like it didn't work.
It's all mental.
It was mental.
It's majority of the time it's mental. Majority of the time those challenges are mental challenges.
Well, is there any doctors that are going to say, no, sir, this erectile dysfunction is not mental. It is physical. His blood is not flowing.
But they're always going to say that, Brad. They've been saying that forever.
So you think all ED is mental?
No, not all ED. Not all ED. I'm saying let's get back the program back to factory reset. Let's get it back to the way that it was, the way that it wants to be.
Have you ever heard of performance anxiety?
Sure, I have.
That's mental.
Yeah.
And that will cause you challenges.
It will cause challenges. But no, but the reality is this. Our sexual arousal program is a real program.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's why like you're with the same lady for 20 years. It's just not, you're just not as aroused as you used to be when you first met her. You know what I mean? Like that new feeling. Will that solve that? Make you want your wife again?
There's a bunch of emotional things attached to that might or might not. But what I'm saying is just that sexual arousal program is a real thing.
Is that a big seller?
Yeah. But no one will give you testimonials about it.
I'll give you one.
Okay.
I don't have an issue, but I'll tell you what it does.
I'll tell you the biggest thing. Women buy this more than men.
This?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It works amazing for them.
I'm going to slap it on my wife's butt without her knowing. What about Boost?
Energy, man.
Energy.
The young man in here. Ask him. He's jumping all over the place.
Yeah, he is. He definitely seems like.
Because this is the thing. So take a look at energy drinks, right? How many sold every year? Tens of billions of dollars? All poison.
Peace.
Yeah, that's what I talked about. Reduce your stress.
Stress.
Yeah.
I would say all entrepreneurs need peace. If this works, you definitely need to lower 100%. Your stress. Stress will affect your health more than anything.
It does. That is the real epidemic, is chronic stress.
It'll kill you.
Because most people don't know how to deal with it. Most people do not know how to deal with stress. They've never been taught. They never bothered to learn. Guys like us, like, just cope. Don't worry about it. Just work through it. But most people don't have the intestinal fortitude, the mental fortitude to actually deal with what it is. So what happens? They compromise everything. Stress leads to what? Digestive problems?
All kinds of issues.
Health problems?
Mental problems?
Hypertension? Blood pressure? Stroke? Heart attack? All starts because of stress.
And it all starts in your mind, stress.
Well, stress isn't a physical thing. It's wiring in our mind. It's just a program that so we can measure, we can see the stress networks. So the study that we did.
You can measure cortisol.
You can measure a bunch of things. Cortisol is good and bad. Depends when it's released and for how long and the amount. We need cortisol for survival. But if it's continuously shooting cortisol in our system, our immune system gets obliterated. We don't heal properly. We don't rest properly. We don't recover properly. And our body falls apart. That's what happens to most people. But they're never consciously taught how to deal with stress. Yeah, you can learn meditation and all these different things, but who's got time to learn that? You can do it.
And meditation does work for people. Otherwise, it wouldn't be so many.
But it takes practice, and it takes time, and it takes dedication, which today people don't have.
The Ignite, that's the dealing with the calories. I think that would be a big seller, because like everyone that wants to lose weight or maintain abs, it doesn't matter. Like you can get the fat people, you can get the skinny people with this one.
Yeah, if calorie control is what they got to work on, then why wouldn't you want to burn an extra 20% calories?
They're already. I'm going to subscribe to that one too, and then kick it.
Yeah, we talked about that. Bad habits.
Oh yeah, willpower. So, and you got a few more than these.
There's a few others out there.
REM, that's the sleep one. Yeah. So sleep's very important too. A lot of people undervalue sleep. A lot of entrepreneurs that listen to the show, they think they just got to grind, and all the gurus in the world tell you got to get up at 3 a.m. and, do your shit. And it's like, there's a lot of people out there chronically tired, and that's causing all kinds of issues, which then causes all kinds of issues, which then, so it's like a domino.
Imagine a life of high stress and no sleep.
But imagine
waiting for the car to break down on the highway.
Yeah. So do you sell these in like REM and the Peace together?
People buy them all the time together.
REM and Peace.
Yeah, 100%. And then sometimes they got aches and pains, they can't sleep, so they slap the freedom patch on for the pain.
Can you make one for because we're all frequencies and it's not just physical. What about like rich?
You mean attract wealth?
Yeah. That's a frequency.
I think that, to be very honest with you, I think that starts with joy and optimism. I think we got to get that mindset straight to realize we are limitless. And then after that, you got to go find a mentor. If you don't have a mentor that somebody can learn, that you can learn from about how to do it, you're not going to figure it out. I think mentorship is one of the most underrated, underused skills for entrepreneurs, because you got to go.
Well, just find someone who already did it and ask them.
It's not hard.
And 9 times out of 10, if you just do what they did, more than likely you're going to get what they got.
Pretty close, if not, you're going to get there.
Yeah. The question is your mind set conditioned and ready to accept and act upon the information?
That's why the joy patch is so important. Get it ready to accept. Get it ready out of fear, out of depression, out of sadness, into optimism and joy. Right? All they have to add now is the dynamic part to actually doing something with that mindset, doing something with that mind that is ready to learn, to grow, to follow, and to say, this is what I'm going to go chase. But if somebody's wallowing in fear, wallowing in sadness, saying, stuff never works out for me. Well, yeah, it's never going to work out for you.
Well, the only thing, because I always put myself in your shoes and try to think to myself, what would I be worried about? Well, I was thinking liability, but there's nothing on them.
Nothing.
Like, it's not a drug.
No.
I was like, what if someone sticks one on and has a heart attack?
No chance.
Well, it had nothing to do with this.
No, there's no chance.
So it's literally drug free.
And chemical free.
Chemical
and stimulant free.
How do you keep it sticky if there's no chemical on there?
Well, the adhesive doesn't seep into your skin.
So there's no liability then. So the only other thing I would say is, like, this is a placebo. You're selling a bunch of sticky notes and pretending that it cures people.
We don't claim cures. We don't claim cure.
No, I know,
like that,
but
right?
I did.
Yeah,
but because
this is going to get me in trouble.
No, I know, but this is what people think. Like, it doesn't cure, but you're definitely claiming that it changes your neurochemistry.
Absolutely.
So if I put on,
not
and it's measurable. You're saying. Yeah, and it's measurable. So it's
measurable. So this is why we're registered with the FDA. If you have anything that affects the human body, you have to register yourself.
Yeah, but I want people to understand. So he's not out there selling placebo, because the calorie increase of 20%. You can go to your doctor or whoever measures your RMR, measure your RMR, slap on a patch, and then tell them to measure it again. Don't do anything different. Just measure it again.
Brad, if you'll have me, I'll come back with the RMR machine and the doctor, and we'll do your RMR in the studio, and you'll see.
Okay.
20 to 25% more. And so getting back
yeah,
to
because again, like that right there, now that is, again, people can't say that's placebo.
you cannot consciously control your RMR. Think about this. You cannot tell your body, oh, burn more calories. It doesn't work that way.
You know what? I think if you could really get control of your mind, you can. But not many can do that. Have you heard of the guy that can like slow down his blood flow?
I know lots of those guys.
There's people that can slow down their breathing.
You know how long it took them to get there?
I know, but they can slow down their breathing to where they literally can be underwater 8 minutes, where me and you would be dead. Well, dude, they can, if they can get control of that mind, because that's all it is. It's the mind going, lower this, lower that, lower this. And then certain people, very few, can do it. So I think it can be done. It's just we're not taught that.
We're not taught
Our pineal glands are clogged by all the fluoride and the bullshit that they got us convinced is good for us. And then who's they? I keep saying, who's they?
There's a lot of they we can talk about that. But I want to get back to that, the placebo question. Okay. We get that asked a lot. And I said, listen, that means you haven't read the research. It's all on our website. We don't hide it. It's no secret lockbox of research that no one can have but me. What ends that placebo question is the p-value. P-value is the probability of what is the chance of this being fluke, this being just random data, this being a placebo. So in clinical science, especially in medicine and healthcare, you want a p-value of 0.05, meaning 5 out of 1,000 or less chance of this being a placebo. That there is a chance, but it's so small. The data we have on our science, on our testing and our clinicals is 1 out of 1,000. There is no chance this is a placebo. So people can't say, well, it's a placebo, but you haven't read the research. If this was a high placebo with a high standard deviation, then you can say, well, yeah, that's too random and you don't have enough statistical significance. And if that was the case, we'd have to go build a better product and test it again. But the fact that the P is 0.001, that the chance of this being a placebo is 1 in 1,000, that it's a 999 out of 1,000 chance that this is not a placebo. That's a level of efficacy that's isn't even reached by Big Pharma. Think about that. Big Pharma puts out stuff there with a p-value of 0.05. This is 0.001. People say placebo, I go, well, you haven't read the research and you don't know what p-values mean. Because there's a lot of lay scientists out there who actually don't know how clinical research is done. I don't do the research in my basement. This is done by leading thought leaders in their field. Dr. Gooden teaches pain pathology at the University of Miami. Dr. Paul DeGrams, who did the sleep study, is a former director at the American Sleep Association. These are not jokes. Dr. Mark Saker, who just finished the athletic study, is the head of athletic at University of Arizona. He's their head MD. So you have to work with the best people to validate the things that we're saying. So people say, what's a placebo? I go, you don't even know what, people don't know what it means. What's the placebo? That this happened by chance, right? And I go, sure, things happen by chance because the mind's a powerful thing.
That's right. I was going to say, I mean, I think a placebo is the same thing as this, except for this is consistent because a placebo doesn't always work. This always works, which makes it no placebo.
Makes it no placebo.
But when a placebo actually works, it is their mind doing the same job because I think that's the only way it works.
There's actually more to that. So when we do our controlled placebo, we actually study a placebo as a part of the study. The placebo doesn't have statistically significant feedback, right? So the University of Arizona, when we did that study, it shows a 10% improvement in lower extremity power. The placebo showed a 2% improvement. That's a 5x improvement. That means this is statistically significant and not a placebo. We did that with the pain patch. We did that with the sleep patch.
Do you have to do them all?
Stretch. We have to. Everything is in study. Some of them are done. Some are on the way.
What are the newest patches being developed? Are you developing any more?
Yeah. New patches coming out. We have a patch for nausea. I think it's going to
That'll be a big seller.
We have a patch that can help people maintain their A1C levels.
Oh, that's a good one. Pre-diabetes.
It's probably 2 years in the study. The patch is developed. We're working through designing the protocols to get that studied. We have a patch that can help with things like memory and attention, cognitive function. We have a patch that I believe can help with hypertension and blood pressure. So we have a 10-year product roadmap, Brad. because that's the world I come from. Software, you needed a product roadmap. This isn't, oh, I found some stuff in a Cracker Jack box and now we're putting it in an envelope and selling it. This is a very thought through strategy, how we're going to bring this to market and bring it to the people that need it.
Do you think this will pay you more than you've ever made in your whole life?
In time, yeah, probably. I've been very fortunate. I mean, I've made hundreds of millions of dollars in my life, but this, and the reason I could do this is because I had that, right? To your point from earlier, it's good. It's good when you got all the money in the bank, you can do the things that you love. The economics are an output of what I'm trying to do here.
Well, coincidentally, that's how you make a lot of money, is help a lot of people.
Yeah, that's the key.
And if this shit works, you're helping a lot of people.
We're going to
in a lot of ways.
I'm not doing anything else the rest of my days. My single-minded obsession is to bring drug-free health to the world. I think the world's been led down a rabbit hole that's not helping. People aren't healthier. Why? We're stuck on an old paradigm. We've got to get into the new.
And
right?
The food and the chemicals.
Brad, listen, you're a smart guy. The whole world is chasing AI, right? AI this, AI that. What we're harnessing is OI, original intelligence, that we're born with, that we're created with. That's what we're harnessing. So AI might destroy the world, but OI is going to save this world. And that's what we're using, and that's what we're leveraging. This isn't new. We're born with this. We're just harnessing it.
So you guys better go get it before, again, if I was in this, I would be worried, because if you really do that, pharmaceuticals, trillions of dollars, someone's going to send a black helicopter to come down out of the sky, and
I'm not worried about it.
All everyone's going to say is, where'd he go? Oh, dude, we don't know who it was.
So the only thing that gives me comfort.
You remember, I think it was ivermectin. There was someone in Canada, by the way, they lived in Canada.
Yeah.
And coincidentally, their house got broke into and they're all dead now.
So listen.
But you know who I'm talking about?
I know the incident you're speaking of. I don't know the name.
Yeah, it was the family that owned the patent to, ivermectin or something.
So this is the thing.
Now they're dead.
So this is the thing. Number one, I don't worry about it, because the one that made me is going to be in charge of when I go. I don't worry about those things at all. It doesn't rent any space in my head, because I don't live a life of fear. I live a life of purpose. Number one. Number two, it's already out there. There's millions of people. We've got millions and millions of people that love this product and this technology, and they carry it out. And how we become so successful? People recommending it to their friends and their families. It's too late. The genie's out of the bottle, man. The toothpaste out of the tube. They can't stop this. What are they going to do? Ban drugs? What ingredient are they going to ban?
Yeah, well, they can't do that.
No.
That's pretty funny too, because that's what they would do.
In 12 seconds, they'd
change the labeling of one of your ingredients and say, "Oh, you can't have that. That is
happens
now
every day. Happens
a category 2. What is it called? Like drug? That's a category 2 drug now.
Oh, yeah.
Controlled substance.
Controlled substance. Yeah, you're out of business. They do it. Listen, I'm going to say something that maybe I shouldn't, but I'm going to say it anyways. I was at this trade show. We're in Vegas. There's a big trade show going on. We went through this trade show. There's over 200 vendors there selling this thing called hydroxy, which is a natural Percocet. We are poisoning our society. We're poisoning our kids, man. And they're going to sell it in every gas station, every 7-Eleven, and every place where these kids go to buy their stuff. Okay? They're clamping down on vapes, which are an epidemic. That popcorn lung thing is just out of hand. So the next thing now is a thing called hydroxy. And we're letting it happen. Who's the them, the they? The powers that control this country and mine.
Which is, I think, big pharma.
Well, they're the largest advertiser in mass media.
Yeah, I mean, they're the ones populating.
And they fund universities and academia and science. So when you see, well, Jay, how come the university isn't on their own studying? I go, they have a vested interest not to. I can't compete with big pharma that gives billions and billions of dollars in endowments. Not there yet. So we do it slow and steady, piece by piece, find the ones that want change and work with them. That's fine. This is not a 1-year fight for me or a 5-year fight. This is generational. I got nothing else to do.
So if people in the bomb squad like have issues, pains, want some of the things we talked about, obviously they can go get them at superpatch.com, right?
Yeah, that's it, man.
The Super Patch or just Super Patch?
Superpatch.com. Superpatch.com.
Superpatch.com. You can go look them all up and look at all the ones they got going. But what about like people that want to make money? Because there's people going, dude, if this shit works, I'll sell the shit out of this, like me. So by the way, folks, I've got patches on. I'm going to test this shit. I got some REM coming to the house. I'm going to test this for you, and we will have you back. You bring that calorie
We're
thing.
going to do it right here,
and let's
brother.
film it, and and I'll splice it into the next episode.
It'll be great.
And again, like, dude, when I say if these work, you already know they do. But like, once I'm convinced,
Once you feel it.
but again, I mean, you're going to get those people that even if they feel it, they're going to, well, that could have been because I started dieting.
Good. God bless them.
Yeah, well, dude, I did coincidentally start wearing your patch and I did start feeling better, but my wife started freaking hugging me again. Could have been that.
What can you do?
Can't do anything.
I don't worry about those things.
Yeah, you just move on. But
That's it.
But for the people that need it, it's there. And again, I'm going to be testing it. There's already tons of testimonials. Go to his website. But for the people that want to make money, which is usually why they're listening to this show,
100%.
how do people make money with this?
So
it's not a full blown MLM, is it? Or is it?
Yeah, we have an MLM component to it, and we have a straight
Affiliate
program to it where people send out their link and people buy the product because word of mouth
and it's recurring revenue.
is recurring revenue.
Folks, what that means, very simple, is let's say it doesn't work, but it does for your friend. You go throw this patch, boom, try that patch. You know what I would do if I was a entrepreneur, which I am? I'd invest in one because there's 28 in each one.
Yes, sir.
And I'd go give one to whoever, and I'd give them one. Like, I'm investing in that. And then at the very end, all I'd say is, hey, if that helps you, I'll tell you where they came from.
Yeah.
If it doesn't help you, don't worry about it. And then these people with the neck pain and the back pain and the can't sleep and the nausea and the freaking limp dick or whatever, they're going to call me if that shit works for them.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you there's going to be some people that'll be like, nope, didn't do nothing. My wife sometimes, like, I forget what it was, but I'm going to give her the sleep. That'll be a good test. Everything that seems to work and I take it, this is good. I give it to her. Doesn't work for her. In fact, seems to work the opposite. Like, hey, this is supposed to put you to sleep, puts me to sleep, makes me groggy. She does it. How'd you sleep? Oh, I was up all night. Matter of fact, that did the opposite. I was like freaking wide awake. I was like buzzed.
I don't know,
but it worked for me.
Yeah.
So again, my wife's a tough customer and she definitely needs more sleep. She's taking care of the kids all day.
Let's do this then. Don't tell her what it's supposed to do.
Well, it doesn't make you sleepy.
So study shows. So I'll just go back to the data in the clinical study. So all the subjects reported to have bad or terrible sleep, very bad sleep. Baseline, it took them a little over an hour to fall asleep, and they were sleeping about 5 hours a night, and they're waking up about 3 times in the middle of the night, right? For whatever reason, take a piss, whatever they had to do. 2 weeks of wearing the patch. They're falling asleep 50% faster. They're falling asleep in 30 minutes. They're sleeping 6.5 hours. They're sleeping 25% longer. And make life changing. This is the better part. 85% of them now are only waking up once during the night, not 3 times a night. And they're waking up refreshed and rejuvenated without the grogginess of the melatonin and the supplements they were taking before. Hallelujah.
Not only that, but it's probably better sleep.
And they're waking up refreshed. Like, and now 85% of them are saying, oh, I got a good or great sleep. So you went from 85% saying I got really bad sleep for the last 2 weeks. And then 2 weeks later saying, you know what? I'm sleeping really well and good sleep without a pill.
Placebo.
Yeah. Placebo. Yeah, that's the word.
They accidentally changed their pillow at 2.
That's what happened.
It was their pillow.
It was the sheets. It was the 500 thread cotton sheets that did it.
Hey,
get out of here, man.
When people go to sleep, they don't realize that like their GH is being released, their repair is happening, and when even if you're asleep, because some people I sleep, Yeah, but if it's like there's certain kinds of sleep, beta, theta, all this shit.
You got to get in the REM.
Yeah, you got to get in a certain
Deep
level.
Sleep and REM sleep, and that's how you're going to recover. Otherwise, you're not. It's light sleep, you're not recovering. You're
yeah,
not
so like you get the Apple Watch or the Oura Ring, and you wake up and you monitor the actual theta and beta and all that crap in your sleep.
Yeah.
People realize, well, no wonder they're waking up without being refreshed. They were hitting like this the whole night, and you
Shallow
could see
sleeping.
that it went like this.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. Well, it could be stress. So sometimes the stress patch might cause you to sleep better.
So
The stress and the sleep
So
patch.
what we've seen with the client base is this. Two things. There's usually some kind of mental anguish that's keeping them awake. So some level of stress. So we tell them, listen, wear the peace patch all day, all night, last 24 hours. And before you go to bed, an hour before, put on your peace patch. Put on your REM patch to help you sleep better. So at least we can deal with the stress side or the anxiety side that might be dealing with why they're not sleeping. Number one. Number two, it also might be an aches or pain issue. Why they're not, they're working hard, they're working night shifts, aches and pains. I mean, those get in the way of sleep. Right? Sleep is complicated. Why people end up with poor sleep didn't happen overnight. There is a progressive downward spiral of how they ended up there. And sometimes you got to have a couple more questions. Hey, what's keeping you up at night? Well, you know what? I'm worried about the kids. I'm worried about the job, worried about the finances. You know what? Slap the peace patch in the morning, all night, and add the REM patch before they go to bed. And they're going to have, within 3 days, I think your wife within 3 days, watch her, give her the peace patch for sure and see her change in her sleep.
Okay. Well, again, it seems like also the patches, even though drug free, there's no drugs, there's no chemicals. It's just a patch with this tactical feeling to it. You just slap it on your skin. You can't even feel that it's there. You can put it anywhere. So if you don't want people going, what's the patch for? You just hide it.
Hide it.
But it seems like all of them seem to affect the chemicals and the brain in some fashion. Cause like sleep, it gets corrected. That's releasing melatonin. Like
Not necessarily.
I know, but when you study that scientifically, melatonin is the chemical that makes you sleep, according to science.
Okay. So I'm saying get before the melatonin.
I know, but like serotonin,
right?
But it's still. I mean, if I'm sleeping better, if someone measured my melatonin, I'm sure it went up. For however
right.
It went up, it probably went up, which means these are causing your body just to do what it normally does. So it's almost like bringing everything back to balance.
Get back to balance.
And so now your system dumps the melatonin it's supposed to dump. It's dumping chemicals, or not chemicals, but what are they called? Like, inside.
Neurotransmitters. Yeah, all of it. The biochemistry will change.
Right. So like pheromones.
Yeah.
So maybe we get one that makes you more attractive to the female species by releasing pheromones.
Sure.
To where now for some reason, girls don't know why, but they just find you more attractive.
Yeah.
And you can call that the snatch patch.
Okay. Let's work on that.
Or vice versa. Women can become more attractive to men.
That's the trap patch.
It's just like, because dude, pheromones, supposedly, if I release pheromones, women come around, because we're all animals at the end of the day. And that's how like some of that shit works for the animal kingdom. So I'm just wondering,
listen, brother, I'm absolutely convinced in time we will be able to deduce the neural programs that can help us with the widest variety of health and physical wellness needs, right? It's a process.
And it's coming.
It's coming.
And I think we'll be able to live a couple hundred years.
I think that's coming too.
So do I.
Yeah.
With the way shit's going. And then, I like AI to help me with my OI, figure shit out quicker, faster, stronger. And I think along with AI and all the scientific, research they're doing, like this, dude, this is no one's ever done anything like this. However, when you go in and, you get the acupuncture, it might be the same shit. It's a needle touching the skin. You know what I mean?
100%.
It's almost like, dude, they've been doing this for years in other ways. Massage therapy, that's touching the skin. What do you call it?
Acupressure?
Yeah. Where they press on your fucking foot and all of a sudden your liver repairs itself.
Yeah.
So again, that's pressure and skin. Your skin's the largest.
That's a philosophy and a belief of wellness and health that the answers are inside, not outside.
The answers are inside. I think it's controlled by the mind.
Of course.
This right here somehow sends a signal from the skin to the mind, which controls, I think, the physical.
Absolutely.
So now the mind says, oh, the frequency is now repaired. So the frequency starts dumping the normal amount of melatonin or whatever it is, whether it's serotonin, cortisol, there's all these things that get dumped.
Yeah.
I'll give you last example, and then I know you got to go. So like, if you were an animal right now and you were hungry, what would you do?
Look for some food.
Right. You would hunt.
Yeah.
Right. Most people say eat. No, you wouldn't eat. You'd go look for something to eat.
Yeah.
So now you're running, you're chasing, right? But yet when we go eat as animals, because of the way things have changed, we just go eat now. There's no working out before you eat. So I met a dude, Chris Kruger, all ripped up, helps people have babies. Like he doesn't even do it for fitness, but you get shredded doing it. All he really, I mean, there's a whole bunch more to it, but all he really does is he basically says, you got to work out before you eat. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Why would I work out before I eat? So let's say you want to eat lunch. You're, Brad, let's go get lunch. I better work out before I eat lunch. And then when I get home, dinner, work out before you eat dinner.
100%.
And then most people think treadmill and all this shit. No, it's like a literal 4-minute deal. Like max out your push-ups twice and you're ready to eat.
Yeah.
Do some jumping jacks for 3 minutes. Dude, have you ever done jumping jacks for 3 minutes? That shit is hard. And then stretch and do these weird Superman where it's flexing back muscles you never even fuck with anymore. Dude, I'm telling you, it's the craziest shit.
It's genetic programming. Listen, man.
Yeah, but
all of our ancestors are agrarian farmers who woke up before dawn and were busting their ass in the fields for hours and hours because they had to get the work done before noon because it was too hot to work. Okay? So we're genetically programmed to get as much physical activity in our system in our day before we have a meal. Yeah, we're just reigniting and reawakening that programming.
And here's what. So I'm making a point that like all this backs up. He basically says all you got to do is just get active before you eat, just like if you had to run and catch your food. Well, I've seen plenty of people do his program and they go from freaking not healthy to freaking healthy, and all it's doing is creating the normal hormones that are supposed to be happening that we just don't do anymore because we don't need to chase our food. Time. Yeah. We don't need to chase our food. So you would think he has a fitness program. He mainly teaches people how to have kids when they can't have kids and they're going through IVF and spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to get pregnant, which a lot of them do. He says, no, you don't have to do that. Women that have been diagnosed by their doctors cannot have kids any other way. He's worked with them. A month later, they're pregnant. And all he really is saying is, I'm resetting their homeostasis, their hormones.
That's what we're doing. The neurological homeostasis. That's all we're doing. Get it back to factory reset. Get it back to balance.
And you're doing it through tactile
stimulation.
That's it. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's really great.
I feel more at ease, and I put on the peace patch or the
before we started.
Yeah, and the joy. I think I just slapped on the middle.
Yeah,
I feel joyful.
Yeah, it's good. But you're pretty.
I think I think in some cases we choose happiness.
I think it's from my research, it's a neural program,
which is a choice.
Well, at some point it was, and then it
like, are you happy your mom's still alive?
More than you can imagine.
Well, there's some people not happy because they just got diagnosed with MS. So how is the two situations the exact same? One's happy, one's not. Because, dude, someone's choosing to be happy and someone's choosing to be pissed. Usually it's based on their perspective, though.
Yeah.
So like if
everything.
Yeah, like if you're in a desert and you hear your mom and a lion outside in a big fight and you're expecting your mom to be dead and you go out of the freaking tent and you see that she's still alive and the lion's dead and you're relieved and you're like, "Oh, I'm happy." Right? Well, a minute ago you were not happy. Right?
So this is the thing, right?
So how did
it's there's a decision, and when that decision isn't corrected or there is no corrective measure to get us back to where we should be, it becomes chronic and it becomes permanent. And then they don't even know how to get out of it because they don't even know what put them there, right? Chronic stress. They don't know how to get out of it. They don't know how to speak to that system that manages their stress, their happiness. They don't know how to talk to that subconscious program that's regulating their mood, they're regulating their mindset.
So that's why you should just keep going and then get into those too.
Yeah.
Because I think whatever these are doing is telling our shit to automatically do whatever normal, functionality
it's factory
is.
Reset, man.
Yeah. So like there's got to be a frequency for success. There's got to be a frequency. And I know what you said made good sense. Like, well, if you do these, you'll be more successful. True. But like there has to be like a frequency for success.
Success also,
you can study me if you like.
I will.
And then whatever my frequency is, figure out how to replicate it through
I believe
tactile patches.
Also involves conscious effort and conscious action. We can get the neurology to be ready for that. But there's things you consciously have to do, take action against it, right?
What about confidence?
Joy patch.
Joy? Joy and confidence, two different things.
No, watch. Give us someone that doesn't have a lot of confidence. Put that joy patch on them. They're going to feel more confidence than they ever had. They're going to feel optimistic. The best is going to... What's confidence? That if I try this, it's going to work out. I'm not going to be afraid. Fear is the big killer of all optimism. They're afraid.
I know, I'm trying to figure out a Brad patch of some kind.
We'll figure it out together, man.
Yeah, I want a patch. Who names all these?
I do.
You personally do? So when something gets developed, you're like, what are we calling that? What are you going to call the blood pressure patch?
Haven't figured it out yet. There's a few names in my head.
Level?
There's a few
levels
names.
out your blood pressure. Why freedom? Freedom from pain?
Yeah.
Liberty, because you get...
freedom to move around.
Yeah, move. Victory, because it's sports. Yeah. Ignite. Calorie.
Yeah.
Boost. Energy.
Yeah.
Peace.
Stress.
What's peace? Stress. Kick it is...
kick a bad habit.
And then rocket.
Yeah,
The rocket, folks. And you guys can get these, obviously, superpatch.com. You can follow this dude and stay tuned because I'm going to bring him back. We're going to bring his measurements and we're going to measure some of these things in real life.
Great.
And folks, guys, listen, I'm always skeptical about everything. He's already making millions of dollars. There's already people wearing his patches all over that'll be testimonials. Don't let my natural skepticism make you wait for the next episode. Go to superpatch.com, study for yourself and get some for yourself so you can help me figure it out. But more importantly, guys, if you want to make money, dude, people are making a lot of money with these, just simply giving them to people with these issues. And they come right back and go, what are those? How do I get them? And then you just obviously tell them where you get them and you make a recurring revenue.
100%.
And you do that half part time, dude. Next thing you know, you got 10 grand a month coming in and you're helping people. And coincidentally, that is how you make money. It's by helping people, folks. That's not rocket science.
No risk here, brother.
That's a universal law.
And there's no risk to them.
And there's no risk. There's no chemicals. There's no drugs. Worst case scenario, someone says that didn't work. Give them their $60 back.
100%.
Till next time, folks. Thanks for coming in.
My pleasure. Thanks for
always opportunities here on the Bomb Squad or on Dropping Bombs, folks. Go out and share this podcast. If it wasn't for you, guess what? Someone that you shared it with might actually need them. Till next time, keep it real.